I have with me Sunil Singhal, former ambassador, joining us. Thank you so much, Mr. Singhal, for giving us your time. Let me begin with
Thank you
Piyush
very much
Goyal's
for having
comment.
me.
Thank you so much. So let me begin with actually Piyush Goyal's comment since we just heard it. How does this FTA, according to you, set a template for our ongoing talks with other countries, especially putting into context Goyal's comments to the media this morning, where he said all the FTAs signed so far are with countries that promoted growth, not competition?
Yeah, I think what he's saying is that, India is looking for the complementaries. And when we look at this agreement, which FTA, which has been signed, which is going to be signed, actually, it has been agreed because it needs parliamentary approval of the New Zealand side. This agreement is what we are proposing is that you already said, about 100% duty exemption to India, and India is going to give 95%, but with the rider, because India, when they have agreed in this FTA, is that because we have certain red lines when it comes to the agriculture and dairy products. This has been excluded from, New Zealand has agreed. And along with that, what is happening is two things which has not been highlighted. One is, of course, is this 118 lines of services sector, which has been allowed under this FTA, which will benefit, we have as we all know, that we have a strength in IT and professionals and technical financial technicals, and plus Indian students. We are facing problems in some countries that Indian students who take degree in New Zealand, they will allow 3 to 4 year visa to work there. So that is an additional advantage. And then, of course, we're talking about 1,000 visas every year for the work and holiday visas. So, and temporary employment visas, because that has been a sticking point. So when we look at the agreement with Oman or with the New Zealand, what is being signed is that we are going towards mode 4 and mode 3 also as part of the FTA. And in addition, they are going to invest $20 billion in India over next 15 years. So it will be encouraging New Zealand investment in India. So when Commerce Minister is talking about, Viksit Bharat, so it's a part of that paradigm that it benefits. And with the most interesting is that we are able to protect our red lines, which is a sticking point at the moment
Can you
with
give me?
USA. So here with Oman as well as UK, and of course with the New Zealand, those vulnerable section which we feel is a soft belly for India is being protected, and the countries in like New Zealand and others, they're respecting that red line. So they understand that
Mr.
India will
Singhal,
not agree
yes.
on. Hmm.
See, I understand the features that you have just pointed out of the FTA that makes it attractive as is, right? You've also mentioned that we have been successful at protecting our red lines. The two countries are in fact complementary in the nature of both the sides. But it is also important to look back and just to understand the significance of this FTA better. The FTA with New Zealand has been finalized after a long wait. Initial discussions started back in 2010 and then paused in 2015. That's 5 years of talks with no result. But when negotiations began again in March 2026, it took us 9 months to finalize the deal. What do you think happened differently this time, along with, of course, the points that you've already highlighted? Mr.
Well, the
Singhal,
thing
yeah.
is, the first of all, this new government is 2022 when it came. When the new government in 22, New Zealand government came, it was part of their agenda that they will sign FTA with India. One. So there was a clear willingness on their part to to go and talk. And then when we started negotiation in March this year, there is a willingness on both sides, because both everybody, after what President Trump has done, I think with the President Trump is a catalyst in what is happening in FTA. I have to say that, because all countries all around the globe are now trying to diversify their trade basket with different countries and protecting themselves against what the president USA under President is trying to do, because he's using trade as a weapon. So now the countries are willing to make compromises. So that is what happened with the New Zealand also. They also, because they are also keen to diversify the trade basket and with the countries, different countries. India, of course, has a target that 50 countries have been identified. New Zealand is one of them. And incidentally,
It's
of course, we
actually,
have at
sorry to butt in, but it's good that you
yeah.
mentioned Trump and the US, because my next question was, of course, on that aspect of it. While you have highlighted that Trump's tariffs may have, in some form or the other, acted as a blessing in disguise, pardon me for me fumbling, but acted as a blessing in disguise for so many of these FTAs to be signed. Countries are trying to focus on diversifying. India has been at the same time very protective of its dairy and agricultural industry. But the FTA with New Zealand seems to have found a way around it. Do you think a similar strategy can be adopted with the US too?
I think we have already done that, but and because that is what the statements are coming that we have found a way around that, like you're also highlighting that the fruits, kiwis and some other fruits, we are allowing them to be exported to India with with a quota system. So we are also sensitive to their lines, what their red lines are, what their requirements are. So I think the both sides have accommodated. And with the USA, you are absolutely right that India is on USA both has to find way around the problems and find how can best be suited. But if the one country tries to have 100%, then it becomes a problem. Because I understand from the statement, I think Commerce Minister also made a statement, is almost ready, and US has to agree. So I think President Trump has to understand and has to respect the other country's red line. I think that is the where it is at this moment in my.
The differences currently stand on the red lines, because while India's red lines is agriculture, US is demanding something else, and perhaps that has been a point of contention for a long time, and maybe an overhang also as to why we've not been able to sign a deal with them yet. And of course, the FTA with New Zealand also hasn't been signed, but the talks have been finalized, the framework has been set. But we've been reporting on the surface of it that textiles, apparel, engineering goods, leather, footwear, marine products, sectors to the tune of what I mentioned are some areas that could benefit. I'd like you to explain how exactly would the business in these areas work with New Zealand, and also what does it have for the common man in any magnitude that may be?
Well, the right now, as I was saying, that the trade balance is in India's favor. Means our exports of the pharmaceuticals, textiles, leather goods, which is beneficial for our labor, because these are all labor intensive uh, areas, and which have been affected with this 50% duty. So we are looking for the new markets, and with this promise of doubling up the trade within next 5 years, it will help to diversify us in these areas. In addition, I think the we are talking of new technologies, and it will support our because when we talk the financial the services sector, there also is going to benefit, because again we will be able to diversify our IT, financial services, construction, which we have a very strong hand, and we will be able to export to New Zealand, and through New Zealand we can, because the gateway to Pacifics, so Australia and other Pacific countries, they will become a gateway for us, and we can easily export from there. And the common man will benefit in the sense, because the trade of the opportunities of the employment, which at the moment is being sort of threatened. And of course the agriculture Indians on their side, there is no
Right, right.
as I understand so far, there is no negative list.